about buying land in Virginia, whether that's a few acres to build a home, a small farm, hunting property, or maybe a larger estate. Today's video could save you a lot of money and a lot of frustration. Over the years, I've worked with buyers purchasing everything from small building lots to large farms and acreage tracts throughout central Virginia, and I've seen some very expensive mistakes. I've seen buyers discover they couldn't build on the property they had under contract. I've seen buyers find out after closing that they couldn't use the land the way they intended. And I've seen people spend thousands of dollars solving problems they never knew existed when they first fell in love with the property. So today I want to walk through the biggest mistakes I see people make when buying land in Virginia, and hopefully help you avoid making those same mistakes yourself. Mistake number one, and this is probably the biggest mistake on the list. A lot of buyers assume that if a parcel is being sold, it must be buildable. Unfortunately, that's not true. One of the first questions I ask when evaluating land is, has the property been approved for a septic system? If the answer is no, we need to start digging deeper. Some soils support conventional septic systems. Some require engineered systems. And some may not qualify at all. Owning land and being able to build on land are two completely different things. Before buying, make sure you understand exactly what approvals already exist and what still needs to be done. Mistake number two, not confirming the property supports your intended use. This is one of the most common mistakes I see, especially among relocation buyers. One of the first questions I ask is this: what do you want to do with the property? That sounds simple, but the answer matters a lot. Maybe you want horses. Maybe you want chickens. Maybe you want to hunt. Maybe you're hoping to build a large workshop. Maybe you want enough division rights so your children can eventually build nearby. Or perhaps you're dreaming about a family compound with multiple homes. The problem is that what you want to do and what the property allows are not always the same thing. Depending on the property, you may encounter zoning restrictions, protective covenants, conservation easements, agricultural and forestal districts, HOA restrictions, limits on further subdivision. I've seen buyers assume they could divide land in the future only to discover the division rights were already gone. I've seen people plan for horses and find out livestock wasn't permitted. I've seen buyers purchase acreage expecting flexibility only to discover restrictions they never knew existed. So before you buy, make sure the property supports both your current plans and your future plans. Because discovering after closing that you can't do what you intended to do can be a very expensive lesson. Mistake number three, ignoring access issues. Here's another one that surprises people. Just because you can physically drive onto a property doesn't mean you necessarily have legal access. Sometimes access is provided by an easement. Sometimes multiple owners share a private road. Sometimes maintenance responsibilities are unclear. Quite often they're unclear. And occasionally you'll find a parcel that's effectively landlocked. Make sure you understand who owns the road, who maintains the road, who pays for repairs, what legal rights come with that access. The last thing you want is a disagreement involving the only road leading to your property. Mistake number four, underestimating utility costs. Many buyers focus on the purchase price and forget about development costs. You might need a well, a septic system, electric service, internet service, site preparation, a driveway. I've seen situations where the land itself wasn't the expensive part. Getting it ready to build was. Mistake number five, ignoring the topography. Not every acre is equally usable. 10 flat acres and 10 steep acres are completely different properties. Topography influences building costs, drainage, access, driveway construction, overall usability. Always walk the property. Never rely solely on aerial photos. There's nothing like putting eyeballs on a piece of property that you're interested in to see what is really there. Mistake number six, overlooking restrictions. This mistake is related to land use, but it's worth discussing separately because restrictions often appear where buyers least expect them. Depending on the property, there may be architectural requirements, minimum home sizes, livestock restrictions, outbuilding restrictions, short-term rental restrictions. Always read your documents, never assume that a use is there without first checking it out. Mistake number seven, falling in love with the acreage instead of its usability. I often tell my buyers that usable acreage is more important than total acreage. 100 acres sounds impressive, but if much of that land is steep, wet, inaccessible, or otherwise difficult to use, the practical value may be much lower than expected. Instead of asking, how many acres is it? Ask, how many acres will I actually use? That's usually the better question. Mistake number 8, not checking internet and cell service. Many buyers moving from urban areas assume internet will be available everywhere. That assumption can create problems. If you work remotely, investigate service options before you buy. Talk to neighbors, check the providers, verify everything. You can always get satellite coverage for just about anything, anywhere, but it might not always be the best option for your use of it, so you need to check it out. Mistake number 9, forgetting the cost of ownership. Land ownership comes with ongoing expenses, things like mowing, gravel, fence maintenance, forestry work, equipment ownership, and property taxes. Make sure you're evaluating the full cost of ownership, not just the purchase price. Mistake number 10, not thinking about resale. Even if you plan to own the property forever, it's wise to think about future marketability. The same thing that matters to you today will likely matter to future buyers. Things like buildability, access, utilities, location, usability. All these influence resale value. Mistake number 11, trying to do everything yourself. Land transactions are different from buying a house in a subdivision. You may need help from surveyors, soil scientists, engineers, well drillers, county officials, foresters, land-focused real estate professionals. The more information you gather before closing, the better your chances of making a good decision. Our contracts provide for a study period, and it is very wise to make use of that time. The good news is that land can be one of the most rewarding purchases you'll ever make. Whether your goal is building a home, creating a small farm, hunting, investing, or simply enjoying some elbow room, owning land offers opportunities that are becoming harder to find. The key is doing your homework before you buy. If you're considering purchasing land anywhere in Orange, Louisa, Greene, Madison, Fluvanna, Albemarle, Buckingham, or the surrounding Central Virginia area, I'd be happy to help answer your questions. And I'd like to hear from you. What is your biggest concern about buying land? Leave it in the comments below. I read every comment, and your question may become the topic of a future video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.